Howdy guys, welcome back to another one. Lately, I've been saying in a lot of videos, this is a relatively simple assembly. Well, this one's the exact opposite. This one is relatively complex. There is a lot of parts here that go into this assembly, but with that out of the way, this is a 2-ounce shell, number 4 buck, 10 gauge, 3.5 inch. This should be fun. The wad we're using, which is the focus today, is the Precision Reloading TUPRW 1035. This is one sturdy wad. I've said this before, but imagine a TPS, double the thickness, and this has a lot more rigid plastic. It is quite literally like Tupperware. In our testing, this is absolutely the best 10 gauge wad for patterns. There is a downside though, and there is a reason why I still like the TPS better. This wad, the plastic is so thick on it, you are limited in sizes you can use with buckshot. 32 cal is really tight, it almost doesn't fit. So 31 cal is about the biggest size you can practically fit in it, and the capacity is severely limited because, again, the really thick pedals. You can get realistically about 2 ounces of lead in here, 2¼ ounces if you use a very sparing amount of filler, but 2 ounces is easy. We are doing a full video, range video, on this wad specifically, using various sizes of buckshot, so if that's not out already, just stay tuned for it. It might go live the same time this one is, I'm not sure. But the components we're using is this magnificent stuff right here, 32. Next is the TUPRW 1035 wad. We're using a Remington Hall with a Shadot CX2000 primer, 1/8 inch of 20 gauge fiber cushion wad. This one's getting a Mylar wrap. This is the My Thin Mylar. That really helps tighten up patterns, and it will basically eliminate any flyers. But after that, we're using number 4 buck, about 40 pellets of it, 40 to 42 depending on alloy. Anyway, 2 ounces is what the payload will be, minus the buffer. And lastly, buffer. Mix number 47 today. And I guess not really lastly with that, because lastly is an overshot card. And that's all this one is. Like I said, it does have quite a few components going into it, but it is easy to throw together. Let's get into it. So to get this started, there's that. We need our wad. That's a very thick wad, guys. Slide it up on here and get that seated. I think these only come pre-slit. I don't think I've ever seen the unslit version, but if they're out there, let me know. Next, our 1/4 inch 20 gauge fiber cushion wad. Sorry, that was 1/8 inch. If you don't have fiber cushion, use felt or cork. But after that, we need our Mylar wrap. Again, this is the My Thin Mylar. Roll it up. And once you have it like that, set it down inside your wad. And the Mylar wrap comes up right to the top of the wad. I know you can't see it, but I'll try anyway. Okay, so I have in here 41 pellets of number 4 buck. That is 1.972 ounces of lead. With buffer, that's going to bring it up to 2.02, just a fuzz more than 2 ounces. But now we need our buffer. There's my scoop. This should take about 2 scoops of the Lee 2.2 cc dipper. So we have the top row of pellets about halfway covered. Now we need 1 section of a 10 gauge overshot card. Set that right on top. And we are ready to crimp this. I've got my 10 gauge lead load all here. Back station is the 6-point crimp. 6-point pre-crimp anyway, and that's what it looks like. Really good. Next, I grab the primer cover off my other press here and set that right below the front pre-crimp station, of which I have a Rabacitor attached to. Pull down, and you can see the Rabacitor did its job really well. That looks great, actually. Now we can just final crimp this. Awesome. Beautiful looking shell, guys. As you can see, we do have a deep set crimp. It is perfectly even across the top. No waviness at all. That is just a great looking shell. It looks about like factory. Obviously, no bulging anywhere. Number 4 buck can't really bulge hulls out unless you really go heavy with the crimp and your hull's too full. But yeah, overall, excellent looking shell. The one I have done up for the range is this exact thing right here, but in a federal hull. All of the ones that we have for the range are in federals, not Remingtons. For that video, we have 32 cal, 31 cal, 30, 29, 27, and for a 6th shell, number 4 buck, which would be very similar to what this is. We are pretty excited to do that one. Shooting 10 gauge is always a lot of fun. I've said this before, but 10s don't really have that much recoil, not like you'd think it'd be. The recoil is more of a long, slow push rather than a sharp whack against the shoulder you get with lighter 12 gauge shooting hot loads. You just get a big massive boom, a decent shove against the shoulder, and usually a really good pattern. But anyway, I suppose that's going to end this one here. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Rumble, Instagram, and merch store will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.